In North Dakota, a case involving the death of a 3-year-old foster child has raised national attention. At the center are Jamie and Raymond Johnson, a married couple charged with the murder of their foster daughter, Leila Peterson. You're watching the Crim Vault, where every week we uncover the worst crimes.
2 foster parents charged in the death of a young girl in Stanley appeared before a judge for the first time today.
According to court records, Leila was placed into the Johnsons' care approximately 6 months before her death. The couple were licensed foster carers and had reportedly taken in 2 children prior to Leila, with no formal complaints made during those placements. Leila's case, however, has prompted widespread scrutiny, not only of the foster system, but also of how signs of abuse may have been missed in the months leading up to her death. Emergency services were called to the Johnson residence on the morning of January 14, 2023. Jamie Johnson told the 911 dispatcher that the child was unresponsive and not breathing. First responders reported that Leila was cold to the touch, with visible bruising on her arms, back, and face. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Initial statements from the Johnsons suggested that Leila had fallen down the stairs the night before. However, inconsistencies in their timelines, as well as the extent and distribution of the injuries, led investigators to question that account. Authorities obtained a warrant to search the home. What they found changed the direction of the investigation entirely. Inside the Johnsons' home were several security cameras, some of which had been positioned inside common living areas. When detectives reviewed the footage, they allegedly found multiple incidents showing Leila being physically disciplined by both Jamie and Raymond. Footage also allegedly showed the child being left alone in a dark room for extended periods and subjected to forced standing or physical restraint as a form of punishment. The most recent footage, recorded less than 24 hours before her death, reportedly shows Leila being struck repeatedly with what appears to be a wooden spoon, followed by her crying and collapsing to the floor. Prosecutors believe this final video provides crucial evidence of intent and causation. An autopsy later confirmed blunt force trauma as the cause of death. According to the coroner's report, Leila had suffered multiple fractures at various stages of healing, consistent with long-term physical abuse. The injuries included broken ribs, internal bleeding, and contusions to the head and torso. Jamie and Raymond Johnson were arrested 3 days later and charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and failure to seek medical attention. They have both entered not guilty pleas. The prosecution has made the home's surveillance footage central to their case, arguing that it documents a clear pattern of escalating abuse. During the first pretrial hearing, a forensic video analyst testified that none of the footage reviewed appeared to have been altered or edited. The timestamps aligned with other digital records seized from the home, including text messages in which Jamie Johnson allegedly described Leila as out of control and needing discipline. Defense attorneys have claimed that while the footage is disturbing, it doesn't prove that the couple intended to kill Leila. They argue that the Johnsons were overwhelmed foster carers with limited support and that the child's injuries were the result of negligence rather than premeditation. They have also questioned the context in which the videos were interpreted, suggesting that moments of care and affection were excluded from the prosecution's presentation. The case has renewed scrutiny of foster care licensing processes in North Dakota. It was revealed during the investigation that Jamie Johnson had previously worked as a nursing assistant, but had been terminated from her position 3 years earlier due to what was described as inappropriate conduct. No formal charges were filed at the time, and this information was not flagged during the foster care screening process. Child welfare agencies have since come under pressure to explain how the Johnsons were approved as carers and why multiple reports of suspected mistreatment, including one made by a neighbor 4 weeks before Leila's death, did not result in an in-person check. A spokesperson for the Department of Human Services has acknowledged that gaps in oversight may have contributed to delays in intervention. An internal review is currently underway. The trial is scheduled to begin in early 2025, with prosecutors expected to call over 30 witnesses, including forensic experts, former social workers, and medical professionals. The defense has filed motions to suppress certain pieces of evidence, including a video file from a bedroom camera, citing privacy concerns and chain of custody issues. Meanwhile, Leila's biological family have released a statement calling for reform in the foster care system. They say they were given limited updates about her welfare after her placement and had no indication that she was in danger. The case remains ongoing. For more breakdowns of real cases, subscribe to the Crim Vault and turn on notifications. Next week, we're covering the case of Kai, the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker, a viral sensation whose story took a dark and unexpected turn.